We're taking a stroll on the Philosopher's Path. It's just about 1 mile long and very pleasant. You go along this canal, and there's gardens, there's private homes, there's a beautiful hillside, and more of these lingering fall colors. There are some little benches scattered here and there where you could sit down if you wish. But really, it just takes about half an hour to have a leisurely stroll along the Philosopher's Path. And it's a very good way to start the day because obviously this is open from sunrise if you want to come out here early in the day. It's a delightful 1 mile trail along this tiny canal with lush vegetation, especially tranquil at the beginning or end of day. Nice gravel walkway, and there's some paved sections of the walkway. A few locals out. Now, during the summer season, during the middle of the day, this is going to be a very crowded area, and it won't be very philosophical. But in this time, it certainly was. This was filmed during the first week of December, which had really pleasant weather. It was cool, but not cold. Here's a cat on a leash. So well trained, he even knows where to go. Look at him lead the master across this little footbridge. That's a most unusual sight. Cat on a leash. It's a perfect place to walk your dog or play with them, especially a frisky dog like this one and his elderly owner who is acting like a little kid, playing with his happy dog. Walking on the Philosopher's Path towards another temple is a good time to consider some ideas of Buddhism. After all, so much of Japan and the temples of Kyoto are Buddhist. Now, most Japanese people are not very religious. When they go to the temples and the gardens, it's really not so much on a religious or a philosophical pilgrimage. It's to see the beauties. And they'll do some praying, some of them while they're there, but it's really kind of secondary in Japan culture. They say that Japanese are born Shinto, they might have a Shinto wedding, and they're buried with a Buddhist ceremony, and that's about it for the major religious events of their life. But the Buddhism philosophy is really an interesting and appealing one. And as we walk through this series of gardens here in the next few minutes of the program, I'll be describing the gardens and mixing in a little description of some of the basic principles of Buddhism too. This is Honen-in, which is a good spot to visit early in the morning because it opens at 7 a.m. and it's free. So you don't have to worry about the gates being closed when you arrive here at Honen with images of the Buddha. The Buddha, the enlightened one who lived in India around 500 BC, he established a philosophy of life which has evolved into one of the world's great religions. In fact, has taken on a life of its own and gone quite far beyond what the Buddha had envisioned. But the basic Buddhist beliefs come down to the Four Noble Truths and the Noble Eightfold Path and the 5 precepts. So as we stroll around, let's consider these Buddhist principles in this Buddhist temple garden. The Four Noble Truths start with the idea that life involves suffering, and there's a cause of this suffering, which is ignorant craving and attachment. And there's a way out of the suffering to nirvana and liberation by following the Noble Eightfold Path. So Buddhism's Noble Eightfold Path is basically a way towards liberation and nirvana and peace and true happiness and true understanding of the way things really work. And it could be lumped together in 3 broad categories of developing your wisdom, your morality, and meditating. Specifically, the Noble Eightfold Path of Buddha gives you some guidance as to how you should live, following right understanding, right thought, right speech, right action, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, and finally, right concentration. Basically, doing the right thing. This is part of our series on the temples and gardens of eastern Kyoto, the Higashiyama district, and also we'll take you downtown in some of our other videos. Be sure to look for them on our YouTube channel.